So we know, and again, there's been a lot of great helmet studies out, football being at the forefront, hockey's right behind it. What a football helmet does is basically will prevent sort of catastrophic injury, a skull fracture, a big contusion, direct, skull fracture, bad things like that. But when you get hit hard enough, what it does, it still transmits forces through your skull, and your brain, which is housed in this liquid medium, can still get damaged. The other thing is you can damage those receptors in your ears. You can as well shake up your vision enough that combination of vision, balance in your ears, as well as a direct trauma to your brain can absolutely give you all the symptoms associated with a concussion, even though you don't get knocked out. In other words, your brain can get hit hard enough that it hits both the back of your skull and the front of your skull, because it's just like a whiplash injury that can cause damage. The good news in all this is we now know that repetitive minor hits can accumulate and can absolutely cause your brain and the reflex action that occurs within your brain to become less efficient over a season. So these minor hits, these minor dings as it were, can really accumulate over the course of a year. The best example we've had of somebody look at that is a great study that came out of Vancouver, actually, Simon Fraser University, where they looked at an entire hockey team. And they looked at the function of a hockey team, and they did both some cognitive, mental studies with them, and then did some reaction time studies, as well as they looked at vision and things that would give them an indicator of if there was a concussion. So they tracked all these guys for the entire season. And what they found was they obviously had people who had concussions, and when they looked at their baseline data, they deviated down to the baseline and then did the rehabilitation, and then they allowed them to play, and obviously went through a normal season and concussion protocol. The interesting point of the study was at the end of the season, they looked at everybody on the team, and even the people that never had a documented concussion had a decrease in all categories at the end of the year. And that was somewhat shocking, because they knew that they never really had a documented concussion with symptoms, but they knew that hits during the year, football's a great example of that, hits during the year, at the end of the year, they all had problems. And I think that points that you can wear great padding, you can wear a helmet, but just direct head hits and things like that have an effect. The good news is that with a proper program, postseason program, coming in and doing some what we consider vestibular balance, vision work, that you can return to baseline. So time away from the sport, and then not just strengthening your body, but doing some very specific vestibular, and again I mean by that balance, vision, muscle work, you can return that brain function to baseline. And in fact, now at HDPT, we're working on what we consider to be a concussion avoidance program, which basically translates into a good reactive timing program that you can do in the off season that will return you to baseline.